Hello, welcome to another devlog. Even before starting working on Farstar, when playing games such as Hollow Knight and Guacamelee, I couldn't stop thinking what was the process the developers applied to build their maps, to decide which skills and areas to unlock at a given time. About a year ago, when I was planning Farstar's progression, I researched about this subject, but I couldn't find anything talking about it. Developing a non-linear experience can be overwhelming, so I had to organize myself to make sense of it. There are three elements I can think of that impact directly game progression in this kind of games: the backstory and the quests, the areas or locations of your game, and the skills. Defining each one of these groups is easy, the tricky part is to put everything together. I already had a draft for the story and the main quests. Even though I didn't have all the details, I knew what were the milestones or the most important events in the main story. This helped me with defining the second group, locations. I came up with many different locations ideas, and I chose the ones that aligned with the story. The third thing I defined were the skills, still following the main theme and the game style. Using the draft for all three groups, I started laying down a diagram with all the locations and how they connect to each other. The main story helped me to define that. Then I added gates. By gates I mean which skills or events were required to access the different areas. I also added indicators to help me understand the sequence in which areas would be unlocked. Creating the diagram gave me some interesting insights about the game. The first one was about location distribution and backtracking. As an example, here is the flow I had before the diagram. You would start in the desert, in a small area that would work as a tutorial. The desert connected to the business district, where you would have to go through to reach the space station. The space station is where your main quest line would start. Then, one of these missions would send you all the way back to the desert. First of all, I'm not giving the player enough time in each area. I'm introducing a bunch of new content at the same time. Second of all, there is a lot of backtracking. Backtracking is not always bad, but it may become boring if you don't find ways to make the return trip as exciting as the first one. I ended simplifying the initial flow to keep the player longer in the initial area before jumping to the next one. Besides that, I moved some areas around to help with the overall flow. The second insight I had was also related to locations, more specifically with which paths should be unlocked at a given time. What I noticed is that at some time there would be only one location unlocked, and other times 3 areas would be unlocked at the same time. This lack of balance would make the game feel linear in sections and by contrast overwhelming when multiple areas are unlocked at the same time. That brought me to the third insight, skills. Some skills were overused while others were just used once. With this information I was able to reduce the number of skills and rebalance the remaining ones to be used more often. All this reshaping also helped me to improve the story and to come up with a satisfactory ending for my game. The time spent creating this diagram was well worth it. It helped me to organize my ideas and makes it easier to remember stuff. Besides everything I mentioned before, it also helps me to prioritize what I should work next. I've tried many tools, but the one that worked best for me was IDE Graph Editor. This is a desktop application available for all major systems and it's free. It was created by a company called iWorks. I'll add the link to the description. I hope the things I mentioned here are helpful in some way. Leave in the comments which tools and techniques you use for game design. I'd love to hear it. Also, subscribe to the channel, leave your like and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching, see you next time.